Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and droids, across our beloved empire. It's great to be in the empire today, but you know what's not so great? Conquest. This game, I'm going to say it's not in a good spot right now. We're coming still hot off the press of the whole entire great nerf of 2021, nerfing some of the fan favorite characters in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, making Galactic Legends even more powerful, and now the over monetization of Conquest. Now, although I want to rage, especially because Maul's trying to inspire me through his ability, seething rage, we're going to stay as objective as possible here, but let's make sure you're up to date on what is going on in Conquest before we talk about what needs to change in Conquest. And I'm just going to give you the hard truth about why I'm not so certain we're going to see any changes, even though I'm going to give some very valid points, and you guys have also given some very valid points in a variety of mediums out there. Let's hop over to the forum real quick in case you missed it. Conquest got shut down after about 5 hours. There were just way too many bugs, which is a little bit embarrassing and a little bit disappointing and uncalled for. They delayed Conquest for nearly a month and a half, and they've waited for this great nerf of 2021 update to come. They added all this crazy difficulty and over monetization, dumb feats. We're going to talk about that in a moment. And yet there were bugs out the get-go, straight out the get-go. Very disappointing. We got to talk about some repercussions of that as well. But in case you're wondering when it's coming back, it looks like it's going to be starting up in about an hour and a half at the time of this video being recorded here. And I'm not seeing any indication that the things that people are complaining about, the things that Reddit has been on fire about, the forums, people leaving the game as it seems, I don't think any of that's getting changed, and there's no indication that things will change. And you might be asking yourself, hey, what about the crystals? Are we going to get any compensation as a result of this Conquest being shut down? As of now, only things that have been confirmed is crystals spent on energy and anything spent on consumables will be returned, but there's a glaring omission: Maul shards. Now, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news here, but based off the previous time Conquest got shut down because of bugs, believe it or not, it's not the first time. That was during the Razor Crest season. And some people were able to get ahead of the ball because they were able to blitz through Conquest, get as much Razor Crest shards as possible. They were mathematically ahead, and CG did not take away those shards. Now, you see here, I got 15 shards, one of two reasons. Firstly, we went ahead and I wanted to blitz through Conquest before they shut down because I wanted the battle up against Maul for the first. I put a card in the top right-hand corner. If you want to see some initial gameplay reaction of Maul taking 5 million turns back to back to back. But secondly, I got screwed during the Razor Crest crash or the cancellation because I wasn't able to blitz through it in time. I wasn't expected to crash, and I was behind on the Razor Crest shards, and some people unlocked them a lot earlier than I could. However, I don't think it's going to affect Maul as much because you need it. It's a 7-star unlock, not a 5-star unlock. Like the Razor Crest, it might not be as big of a deal, but getting those extra 15-20 shards is going to give people a little bit of wiggle room, especially with how difficult Conquest is. Every little bit of wiggle room is going to help. I'm telling you guys now, I want them to reset everyone, even the people with Maul shards. I want them to take my Maul shards away and everyone else's. Let's start up from scratch. There's no reason why myself and others should have a 15-shard head start over other people. And some people got 20 shards of Maul. But anyways, we got to talk about Conquest, and this game was bad. Now, they basically took the parts that we didn't like, the repetition, the grindiness, and they're like, you know what, we got to amplify that. And the things that we asked for, such as quality of life things, basic quality of life things, such as in-game battle tracking for feats, still have not gotten that to this day. I made the joke, it's like I send Garrett to the store to grab me some Ewok jerky, and he comes back with a new dog. It's like, that's not what I asked for, although I do appreciate dog, but I don't appreciate these changes that they brought instead. And here's the reason why, and unfortunately, even if they do a developer review, they're not going to answer this outright. They are going to give you reason number 20, give you the whole corporate spiel that, we need to make it more difficult because people were doing it too quickly. That's the answer they're going to give you, and that might be a valid reason, but number 20 on the list. Number one reason on the list, from my understanding and how I just see this game, monetization. We are playing a gacha game at the end of the day, and I always make this joke, triple B mobile game, not a triple A mobile game where it's more focused on the quality of the game, whereas here it's more on the monetization aspect of the game, and the quality of the game kind of comes on the back burner as a second tier priority. They need to make money at the end of the day, and I can tell you right now, based on how I saw Conquest, it was a very accessible game, and if you had a decent roster around that 4 million GP or so, you were able to get 7-star Razor Crest, able to get a 7-star Commander Tano, just as well as the people who had big rosters like myself. and others. And I was a huge fan of that. I thought it was great. People without Galactic Legends, knocking out Conquest, getting all these exclusive units out the get-go. Fantastic. That is really an achievement in this game. But there really wasn't a monetization aspect of this game. It was very cheap to play through it. There weren't any crazy feats. And there, you could really just have one or two decent teams and get through it. But now they looked at all those. I'm sure someone looked at a spreadsheet, and anytime they're making anything, any little game mode, any little feature in the game, they're always doing it and trying to figure out, how do we get you? How do we get you to spend money on the game? And the Conquest that was rolled out was a fun game mode when it first came out, but there wasn't really an incentive to spend money unless you just wanted a bigger roster to get around that 4 million GP threshold or so. And this is where the changes are coming, and you're not going to see that explicitly written out, and you're not going to see anyone discuss that verbally as well. It's kind of a thing they just can't talk about. And that's something I want to put out there. Even though you guys brought up some amazing suggestions on how to fix this, I just don't see anything happening, because at the end of the day, they're trying to make money on this game mode, and the projections probably were not there. And I can almost assure you there's probably some people out there that were a little irked that some people with smaller free-to-play rosters are able to get the same exclusive units as those who spent tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars on this game. But again, there's a lot of fantastic posts on Reddit that I highly recommend you guys read. Even CG, if you're reading this, check it out. Egnards has a fantastic post on Reddit. Epidem Pack has a fantastic post on Reddit. And Greensparrow has another fantastic post on Reddit. Talk about what went wrong, what can we do, and understand the realization we're playing a mobile game at the end of the day. All this is very constructive feedback, and you guys are all bringing up valid points. But again, seeing where the game is right now as a mobile triple B gotcha game, there was a reason why they brought it. I can tell you, they did not truly believe that this was what the game mode needed from a quality aspect. It was simply straight as a money aspect for Conquest here. But let's just talk about it. Let's not beat around the bush. What's wrong with Conquest? We're kind of bringing up all this things in general, but more of a nitpicking section here. Energy cost, the stamina, and the feats are the three main things in general that are going on here. Before, if you guys remember, we made guides on how to perfect Conquest, even as a free-to-play player. When you're doing the sector feats, before they were very generalized feats, and oftentimes you could knock out almost all of the feats with one team going through a conquest. And that was the brilliance of it all. By the time you complete a sector, you got through all the bosses and whatnot, you're more or less almost done at that conquest sector. You might have to go back at a third star somewhere. You might need to go back and finish the win 20 battles without losing a unit for 20 battles. Maybe stuff like that. But now there's not a mathematical way, the way the sector feats are designed, to do such a thing, because you almost need 3 or 4 teams to get through it. You need a team that, for example, is a bounty hunter team, which is great. But oh wait, now you need a team that has a Phoenix and Ezra Bridger in there, and that needs to get a lot of kills in there. And then oh wait, you need a team that has Night Sisters, a full Night Sister team, sometimes locking you out from getting a feat unless you have the full team. So before, yeah, maybe you could do a hybrid thing. You could throw in bounty hunters, a Night Sister, and Ezra, and maybe do all the feats at once. That's no longer the case. So now, before, let's say it took you 20 battles to complete a sector, it's now 30 to 40 battles minimum. And now with the increased cost of energy nearly doubling, oh boy, I'll control the rate. It's just getting too expensive, and they're locking you in a sector for a very long time. And do not even get me started with the potency down feat. We're already talking about how you need a variety of teams and factions. How many potency down characters are there in the game? 2. I'm just gonna tell you right up. Gary did the research for me. 2 characters potency down. One is trash, young Lando, and the second one is Yoda, which is fine, but he's not a Phoenix and he's not a Night Sister character. So again, you're forced to use 3, 4, or maybe even 5 different teams, exhausting the stamina of your entire team. And gosh forbid if you drop one battle drop 1 star because you brought in a Gear 9 Ezra and he died at the very last second. You just lost all that stamina, and now you gotta spend another 20 energy to redo that battle. The things, the grindiness, and the feelings that make you remorseful, and the stain towards the game mode just got amplified as a result of this update. What are my suggestions? That's the problem. Well, again, if they're in this mindset they gotta make money, fine. Things that require a full team, well, maybe let's move them to the global feat. And let's go a little bit further. Right now, there's only a select few. You need full teams of something. Night Sisters, Bad Batch. I think there's a few other ones out there. I know why we got to make it exclusive to only a few facts like the Bad Batch, because not a lot of people have them built up quite yet. Can't we just have maybe in the global feat, every single faction there, if you use this faction X amount of times, you'll get some conquest points as a result. So put a bounty hunter in there, put a Sith, Jedi, Empire, Ewoks, heck, even put the prepared squad in there. So that way you're not forced to go after those certain factions, but we know why they're picking those select factions like Phoenix or like Bad Batch, because you don't have them geared up most likely. And if you want that max crate, you might need to gear up that faction a little bit, or pray that you get some really good data cards to make them useful in those later parts of the sectors inside of Conquest. So more of the story, maybe take out some of those very specific things and move them to global, and take more of the generalized feats and put them inside the sectors, because right now they want you being locked into a sector as long as possible before you move on to the next one to get the most tickets possible. And now, especially with them narrowing the window for how many tickets you need to how much leeway you have to get maximum crate, you're almost forced to get almost all of these out there. Moving on, another thing that really drove me up the wall, the mid boss feed, or the mid bosses that you had to go through each sector. You could not do it in one shot. You were forced to, at minimum, do it 3 times, which is 60 energy. You need to do a full light side team. You need to do a full dark side team. You can't hybrid them. You have to do a full of each. And then you got an underdog as well. And keep in mind, an underdog as well, in the way they coded these feats, you need a full team to do the full light side, a full team of 5. So you can't underdog light side and then get the light side or dark side. You need to do a full light side team, full dark side team, full team of 5, and then you could do an underdog right after. So you're forced to do it 3 times, and then again, gosh forbid you drop a battle or drop a star, you got to redo it again. So you're looking at 3 battles minimum, 60 energy minimum. Incredibly difficult to do all that without losing your brain cells. And furthermore, on top of it, the amount of conquest points you got were so small. If you're gonna force that, let's increase it a little bit more. I don't know, do 3 or 5 conquest points per those feats right there. That one really irritated me because every sector had one of those. It wasn't just like sector 1, it was every sector you went through had a mid-battle boss that required a minimum of 3 attempts. Crazy high energy and then crazy high stamina are the things that are also making it a little bit unbearable for my taste. Let's talk about some other ways we can fix this. If you are truly hell-bent on keeping these changes, 2 things you can maybe do. Maybe increase the stamina refresh rate double. Let's double it up a little bit so you can keep using them on a more frequent basis. Or secondly, give out some free conquest energy along with the daily energy throughout the course of the day. I think those would be at least 2 easy freebies that you can do. And I'm going to go a little bit farther. I like the fact that one of the quality of life updates they did do was making conquest points not required to swap out data disk, which is nice. I did find myself experimenting a little bit more of data disk, but I think they're too expensive still. It's like 7 or 8 energy to swap out data disk. Way too high. Either one, drop it to like 1, 2. I don't get why we have to nickel and dime every little thing we do. I get from a general perspective, yes, but I just want to experiment. I want to play. If you're going to force us into this grindy conquest, at least let us have free reign with the aspect that was fun with Conquest, experimenting with data disk. I'm going to go as far to say, let's just get rid of any cost to swap out data disk. So that way, Conquest is at least a little bit more enjoyable, and you feel like you don't have to worry about sacrificing energy, because 2 data disk swap is almost a full battle in terms of energy cost. I think we got to get rid of that. And I don't know if there's any way to fix this, but one of the ways to how to delicately word this. One of the ways to cheese the feats in the past, like for example, you had the mark 40 times or something like that. So you'd bring in Jedi Knight Revan and you would find a Night Sister team with the zombie, and you would mark down the zombie once there was only 1 Night Sister left, and you would milk it as much as possible. People would like that, myself included. We would go into a specific battle like Night Sisters and milk the heck out of a global sector feat of some sort. I don't know about you, but I noticed there were no more Night Sisters zombies left, except with the Mother Talisman boss. So only 1 battle, and usually those bosses are a little bit more juiced up than your standard Night Sister team, and I feel like that was completely intentional, so you couldn't find an easy way to deal with this chore. It's like mom and dad give you a long list of chores, and they're not letting you wiggle out of it and trying to sneak through some sort of loophole. Can we get the Night Sister zombie back? Come on. I don't know. Little things like that, but I think in general, those are just a few ways to make this a little bit more manageable. And unfortunately, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, I don't see them addressing it. There's not been a lot of times in the game where the community was ticked by something that was blatantly pay to play, and in my opinion, or your opinion as well, not good for the state of the game, and they reverted. The only time I can truly recall is when they reverted mods. Mods got released, and believe it or not, they pulled it back, but mods inevitably got released again. Anything that's meant to make money, it's gonna stay here. Maybe they'll try to dial back, which I'm hoping, but I want to be hopeful, but I'm not too sure. I want to be proven wrong by CG that they have a soul and they're going to dial back some of these things out there. And man, can we just please get some quality of life stuff? This game mode's getting a lot more grindy, and man, the feelings of I have this weird suspicion it's actually intentional that they don't want to put in-game battle feats because it makes some money when you're dropping battles hoping that you completed a feat that's just impossible to track. Even my tactical scanners can't keep track of it. Please give us that. You obviously found the time to do all these other things. The only excuse is that's not going to make you money. And at the end of the day, it's unfortunate. And I don't know if really we're going to see the changes we want until there's another mobile Star Wars gacha game that's at least almost as good as Galaxy Heroes that will start giving some more direct competitiveness. Because once players see there's another Star Wars game that's being actively supported and it's decent, I think that's really going to be the time where CG might not be as aggressive with these type of tactics. Anyways, getting a little cynical there. More towards the end, but like if you enjoyed the video, comment down below and all your thoughts. Be sure to subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, although Galaxy is in a rough state right now, at least here in our empire, it's great to be in our empire today.